When people come out to Mount Carmel, the big three questions everyone always wants to ask is who shot first, why didn't they come out, and who started the fire? That's the big three. As far as who shot first, I have no doubt in my mind whatsoever that the ATF fired first for a couple of reasons. First off, if you look at the pre-action reports, there was actually a group that was assigned to be the dog team. The dog team was supposed to neutralize the dogs. That's a nice way of saying we're going to jump out and kill the dogs. Now, in the pre-action report, it was supposed to be they were supposed to use fire extinguishers, but somewhere between leaving and getting here, and especially if you watch that movie Waco in the Line of Fire, they show the guys disembarking from the trailer and they're spraying the dogs down with fire extinguishers. That's where that came from, was because in the pre-action report, the ATF actually said we're going to neutralize the dogs with the fire extinguishers, but that's not what they did.
So the movie you're referring to is a fictionalized
movie? The Tim Daly movie?
Okay.
Right. The Tim Daly movie is 100% government propaganda. Like, if you really want to see, I encourage people, watch Waco, the Paramount series, and compare and contrast it to In the Line of Fire, Waco in the Line of Fire, and you can see how government propaganda works, because that actually was written based off a government report. Yeah, and it's funny too, especially when you get to meet the people and you know people and you see people like, they have this gray-haired lady jump over the railing and she's like mowing down ATF agents, and it's like, and then you're like, that's supposed to be Kathy Madison, and Kathy Madison's like, poor lady just hunkered down in the dog run and got shot at. She didn't even have a gun on her. But that's not what they showed. They showed, all these gray-haired little Davidian ladies going down, mowing down these poor defenseless ATF agents. And nothing could be further from the truth. And here's the big thing that bothers me the most about the shooting thing, is there was an ATF agent, Roland Ballesteros. He talked to the Texas Rangers, and in his initial after-action report, remember, this is right after the gunfight, he said, because he was in between trailer one and trailer two. He was like smack dab in the middle. He said when the dog team disembarked, they shot the dogs and it spooked the guys in trailer two. So when David Koresh answered the front door, he had his hands up. He said, whoa, 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 we have women and children in here, and they shot him. He said trailer one spooked trailer two shot David Koresh and Perry Jones, which in turn spooked trailer one, and they started shooting at the kids. I can tell you from the inside, and I've got this from multiple survivors, and this story, I've talked to everyone separately, and I've had the benefit of talking to everyone separately, and like I mentioned earlier, they don't really talk to each other. They really don't, because I've gotten too many facts where, I threw some out, and they'd be like, where'd you get that from? And I'd be like, oh, well, Clive told me that, or Tibbs told me that, or Kathy Schroeder told me. So this is one of those things. They said there was about 5 or 6 guys that were down in the foyer, and David, before he walked out, said, whoa, 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 I'm going to go out there and talk to him. He was not out the door but for a split second before he got shot. The 5 or 6 guys that were in the foyer put down some suppressive fire, and then about 20 guys ran upstairs and grabbed the guns. That whole gunfight lasted about 10 to 15 minutes. Okay? The snippet that everyone is really familiar with, where they show those ladders going on top of the church where they're going to try and do the second floor breach. Remember, the government saying, oh, this is an ambush, this is an ambush. That was about 10 to 15 minutes into the firefight already. I'm going to tell you as a veteran, if you're in a firefight for 10 to 15 minutes and you're still moving forward, you're securing an objective. You're not ambushed. You're going to secure it. They knew what they were going into, and why that's such a big deal is that is the area where most of the ATF agents died. Conway LeBleu died on the roof. So when they talk about it, those guys died advancing towards the objective, trying to get the guns, knowing that they were going into a gunfight. And this is the one thing I always like to remind people, again, as a veteran, I signed up for that. I knew the risks when I signed my name to the dotted line that I was going to serve. ATF agents, police, you know what you're signing up for. You know what? The public doesn't sign up for an interaction with law enforcement. It just happens. The public didn't sign their name to the dotted line for that. It just happens. So that's my issue with the shooting. I don't like when they say, "Oh, we were ambushed." Who and when in the history of law enforcement have you ever heard people ambushing law enforcement and calling 911 at the same time? There were two. A lot of people don't know it because you watch the documentaries and everyone knows the Wayne Martin 911 call is really famous. Hey, there's 70 people around Mount Carmel. They're shooting at us. Tell them to call it off. Everyone's heard that one. There's actually a second 911 call with David Koresh where he calls up. He's like, this is David Koresh, the notorious. So you got two 911 calls coming out of Mount Carmel and they're supposedly ambushing the ATF agents, and that's where the lies and the government story just starts to unfold. Is, you know, nobody ambushes law enforcement and calls 911 while they're doing it.